What is up, everybody, and welcome to CTW Live. I'm your host, Seamus Zarlingo. Alongside of me today, Justin Lowe, Rob Haytayan, and Nick Franco. I would do the whole pointing thing, but you guys know how that goes.
Too much of a gamble.
Yeah, 100%. But unfortunately, folks, the reason we're here tonight, some news came across the ticker early this morning on this football Sunday. I mean, they couldn't even do us the decency of leaving us this football Sunday. But here's the news, folks. Some bad news for Celtics Nation, some good news for Warriors Nation. Per Shams Charania breaking, free agent Al Horford has committed to a multi-year deal with the Golden State Warriors. Agent Jason Glushan tells ESPN after 7 of the past 9 years in Boston and winning the 2024 title, Horford will enter his 19th NBA season as the Warriors' starting center. So this transaction right here was rumored for the past 2 months, ever since the start of free agency, realistically, and now it's official as of September 28th. Al Horford officially joining the Golden State Warriors, leaving the Boston Celtics for a second time. Left the Boston Celtics back in 2019 to sign with the Philadelphia 76ers, and now leaves the Boston Celtics once again in 2025, joining the Golden State Warriors, who the Celtics defeated in the NBA Finals. Sorry, my bad. The Celtics didn't defeat the Warriors. They defeated the Mavericks. The Warriors defeated the Celtics in the NBA Finals back in 2022, but Al Horford, no longer a Boston Celtic. I mean, it really kills me to say that, but guys, take the floor here. Open panel thoughts on this one. This is quite some news. I mean, this might be bigger than KP and Drew. Al Horford, no longer a Celtic. Justin, take us away.
Yeah, Seamus, good to be back, by the way, guys. 4 of us haven't been on the screen in quite a while, so Horford might not be returning, but we are definitely returning here at Celtic Talk Weekly. Guys, I'm heartbroken, right? This has been a report. This has been a rumor for the past few months, but Al Horford signing with the Golden State Warriors officially, definitely a gut-wrencher moment here today. You got some good wins from the Red Sox and Patriots, but then you look at other notifications coming across, and it's Al Horford is leaving the Celtics officially. I felt sour. I've heard this report for the past few months. People are posting about it. But when it actually happens and when it comes through your timeline and when it comes from Shams himself, it definitely kind of punches you in the gut. Now, what I will say is, we're going to get into what Al Horford has meant to us and to the Celtics organization these past 9 years. Obviously an NBA champion, an all-star, and just a superstar in his role. But I will say this is kind of not the worst case scenario. It is a clear direction at which this team is going towards this season. Al Horford definitely would love that leadership, probably would like the production, even though he's 39 years old, with the center depth so kind of thin. But I do think it was expected with this offseason. I don't think the sky is falling. This even if Horford came back, right? Like, this doesn't save the Celtics season, but definitely going to shed some positive light here on Al Horford tonight. Wish it was here with Boston. I don't know the incentives within that contract. It was reportedly a multi-year deal. How many years is that? How much money is into that? Is there any player options into that? Can he opt out after the first year? So we're still awaiting the official details on the free agent move, but kind of right now, just sitting it here, kind of was able to soak it in. And at first it was a gut punch, but it's kind of like ripping a Band-Aid off that was already kind of hanging off, right? Like we kind of, like I said earlier, we kind of were aware of the situation, that it was more than likely going to happen. And then once you fully rip that Band-Aid off, it might sting for the second, but then it's kind of like, was this decided months ago and it's just coming out now, right?
Well, when I heard it, I think the biggest surprise, I wasn't surprised he went to the Golden State Warriors, obviously. I mean, that's something we've all kind of known now. That's been something that's been reported, that they're waiting the Kuminga situation. It still kind of sounds like they are. They're just making it, they're just breaking the news. It's committed. He didn't sign. I think the biggest surprise for me is the multi-year deal. aspect of this contract.
Mhm.
I was expecting Horford to, head out west and play with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and those guys for a year in a final kind of, ride or die, like last dance type of deal for Al Horford. And then the news drops it's multi-year. And Justin, those are good points. How long is this contract? Is there a player option? Is there a team option? You ask all these questions. So obviously the Celtics fan side of me is sitting here a little upset and sour that he's heading out west to play with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, who the Celtics have had their fair share of run-ins into the playoffs, we know, with those guys. And it's going to be weird seeing him playing alongside those guys versus against those guys. So that's without a doubt. But again, the weird part is multi-year deal. This is Al Horford 39. How much longer, how much gas does he have left in the tank? We'll have to see. But for me, that was no doubt, no question, the most surprising thing, because 39 signing a multi-year deal. Okay, you might still have it in the tank, but we'll have to see.
Right, and I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing the player option probably being included into this type of situation, especially with an aging player like Al Horford. Surprising move for the Warriors. Obviously this was broken to us earlier on within the offseason that he was planning and intending on signing with the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are just like any other team out west right now. It is a very competitive market out there. Teams are investing more into veteran players rather than looking into the aspect of bringing in teams that are going to sustain for multiple years and developing players. Bringing in Al Horford, it definitely helps that last push for Steph Curry and that group. And it's a little bit redundant because on the offensive side of things, you can see that Al and Draymond might not be the best dynamic back front court and could be within the same situations and kind of repetitive of what each other bring to the game. But seeing Al Horford leave, it was kind of well known alongside most of the other players we saw leave, and not even via free agency. We saw via trade. Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, Luke Kornet, who is another big name to mention in this situation, and Al Horford. Those were the guys that we kind of knew after this postseason run and falling short to the Knicks that we were most likely going to see a disbandment, and we're going to see things look different because of this Jason Tatum injury as well. There is a chance that if this injury didn't exist, that who knows, that you might see one or two of these guys stick around. But with the power shift in ownership with Will Chisholm, that brings in a William Chisholm, that brings in a whole new aspect of things, and it brings in the financial play. And Al Horford, from a basketball side of things, I don't think bringing him back onto this team in this situation the team is in right now isn't going to make or break it. Starting Al Horford, yes, that's a reliable player that we have seen, but Al Horford as a 38-year-old center is not the guy you want to be your guy that you're depending on for 25 to 30 minutes per game to carry the workload. And I would almost entrust Nehemias Queta more with a more enduring role of that sort. And there wasn't really a place for Al Horford to be that kind of off the bench mentor, which in the upcoming years of his career could become more of the optimal option. And I'm sure he's going to be rotating in and out with Golden State, and that's a whole question mark of a group over there with the ages of all those guys, and also the durability. How is that going to hold up over 82 games? But seeing Al Horford leave, obviously tough. He was the initial free agent who came to Boston as a top-tiered destination. Obviously, he left again to Philly, and I believe that was
2019.
1920.
Yeah, and then we swapped them.
And then yes, and then we swapped him back for a hindered Kemba Walker from the Oklahoma City Thunder. But he was the guy who believed in Boston at first and put that was going to be that supporting cast around at the time was Isaiah Thomas. When we brought in Gordon Hayward, when we traded for Kyrie Irving, he was the standing point, and it was made a point of emphasis to bring him back after he left in free agency. And he is one of the key and critical parts of why the Boston Celtics are able to consider themselves NBA champions.
Yeah, and I want to go back to something that Justin said first, because Justin, you mentioned this was like ripping off a Band-Aid that was already half off. I really wonder if this report right here by Shams was just an official, all right, let's get this out of the way, because we had heard rumors about this for 2 months. And this is what I mean, for me, I just, I could go into a whole spiel about this, but the way news is relayed through teams, whether it's NFL teams, NBA teams, to the public nowadays, you could go into any news sphere. It's absolutely ridiculous. We knew this for 2 months. All right. Everybody was dancing around the bush for 2 months waiting for the official report. And I want to mention, too, within this report, it's not even a finalized deal. He has committed. Al Horford is committed, which is no different than what all of these other reporters over time have been saying for the past 2 months. We believe Al Horford is committed to the Golden State Warriors. There's a verbal agreement in place. These words were in articles by legitimate NBA reporters, yet because they're not allowed to report that. They don't report that, and they have to hide it within their articles and bury the headline. And then Shams gets to tweet it out and be the official head of the news. I see that as a little bit ridiculous, because let's face it, we knew this for 2 months, and we officially needed the Shams report in order to come in here and talk about this. Yet 2 months ago, we already knew about it. And even to this day, it's not a finalized deal, because the Kuminga situation is still up in the air. The Warriors roster spots at the end of their roster still not fully finalized. All those contracts at the end of their roster have not been signed, including Al Horford's. And when I hear multi-year deal, I want to go back on something Franco mentioned as well. Franco, you mentioned the player option. This could be a 1-and-1 type of a deal. It could be a 2-year deal with a player option in year 2. If Al Horford wants to retire after year 1, forgoes that money in year 2, it'll probably be the mid-level exception, and that's what's been reported for Al Horford. The Warriors are going to give him part of the mid-level exception, and he'll get that second-year player option, and it could be a team option as well. Could be a team or player option, but either or, I would say this is probably a 1-year experiment with Al Horford, and if it goes well, Al will opt back in, or the team, of course, the Warriors will welcome Al back into their organization. And if it doesn't go well, maybe Al retires, maybe Al moves elsewhere, maybe the Warriors pick up and exercise his option, or Al picks up his option to ultimately. I'm just going to bring up this scenario. What if next season, right, Al Horford opts out and signs back with the Celtics, or Al Horford opts in, or the Warriors exercise their option on Al Horford and trade him back to the Celtics? It's a possibility. It's a possibility. When I hear multi-year deal, it's definitely not a 3-4-year deal. Shams put that in there, but I'm thinking it's a 1-and-1, 2-year deal with an option in year 2, whether it's a team or player option. So up to this point, still nothing official on Al Horford, other than we know, yes, he's going to the Warriors. We just don't know what his deal looks like. I do want to mention here, though, real quick. Okay, he's gone. I think he was walking around at Disney World back in the background, but Griffin, he might make an appearance on here.
He's on a ride right now. He said, I have to get out. I'll hop on.
If he joins while he's on a ride, that would be
the most Griffin thing I think of all time.
Nah, that's gonna happen. I feel like we could make that happen. Yeah, we could probably make that happen. Why doesn't he just get on? You know how great of a piece of content that would be? It might happen in 5 minutes. Who knows, folks? If Griffin were to give his take on Al Horford from a roller coaster at Disney World, come on, that would be amazing. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait and see if that happens.
That's like the connection on that will be equivalent to when Rob tries to join us on the 4th level of the Garden parking lot.
It cannot be as bad as your cruise connection. against the Pacers a couple years ago. I mean, we were getting
Oh,
hangers
that was
out. We
bad.
were getting
I was in the middle of the ocean.
Hey, we all have our
cans.
moments.
I
We
think
got
the
our moments.
cans would have worked a little better with that one. I really
Put a
do.
cup up to the door with a string, maybe. That could have done better.
Smoke
That
signals.
was brutal. That's brutal.
The
I think you're beating
telegraph.
around the bush, by the way, Seamus. Heavy. I think you're beating around the bush. You just mentioned it, but you mentioned a lot of things before mentioning the fact that maybe I'm reading into this too much. Maybe I'm a little biased. I think Al Horford's coming back. I don't think this is anything we need to be concerned about. I think this has. Listen, Horford left. The Kyrie experiment, it blew up. In Celtics direction was clearly kind of all confused in the whole Kemba Walker thing, and Horford left. Mind you,
Well, that was for money though. Philly threw a ridiculous amount of money.
This could also
correct,
be for money though too.
I was just going to say that the money, the bag, he screwed Philadelphia big time, and I would have done that as well. But he left when things were a little bit iffy. I'm not calling him unloyal. I'm not. Those words aren't coming out of my mouth. But he left when times are a little bit kind of up in the air. Like, what's going on here? Right now, this whole season is what's going on here. What's going on with Tatum? Is he coming back? Is he not? That doesn't mean we're rushing him. We'll get into that a lot tomorrow. Join us for our media day stream tomorrow. But seriously, like, this is going to be huge. Who's going to be our starting center? At first, it sounds like Neemias Queta. That's something. Well, what if my boy Luka Garza plays well? What about Amari Williams, who's on a two-way deal, who will clearly get a lot of minutes this year? So, like, there's a lot of question around
Xavier Tillman.
Right.
The silence just said everything. I mean, boom.
Like,
wow. Silence.
You don't know.
But no, seriously, like, there's a lot of question around this season. What if Horford dips his toes to another team, a team that is looking to win at this moment? I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to play with Stephen Curry, one of the greatest basketball players ever? Goes see how that experience is out west. Horford has never played out west before. He played with the Thunder, but he actually did too well that the Thunder were trying to lose. They had to trade him away. But other than that, like, I'm looking at this as Horford's taking a break. He'll be back. Like,
I'm going to play.
And
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum.
I think he comes back. I think even if it's just a 10-day contract, he is retiring a Boston Celtic. There's no question about it for me, whether that's a year deal or a 10-day
retiring,
deal.
but playing.
I think he'll play. I do.
I think this is so funny because it shows the polar opposite ends of where we are in the NBA in the difference 15 years can make. This is no different, fellas, than Ray Allen going to sign with Miami. This is no different. Let's not
Wait. It is okay. I will agree. It is on the same level of human, right? Of connection, but it's circumstance because the Warriors. I gotta say this: the Warriors, pure desperation.
No Miami Heat.
Pure desperation by the Warriors. Are you kidding me? Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Al Horford. They're all over the age of 35. That would work great in 2016-17. That would have been a great team back then. But in 2026. Do we really expect the Warriors with this current core of all players over the age of 35? Here's the thing. They're all great cerebrally, but physically, they've all lost a step. And that's the problem with the Warriors is what?
What did you say? Cerebrally?
Cerebrally?
Yeah, that's a good. No, that's a. I'm giving
that. No, but it's okay. Well, the general basketball knowledge, right?
Just hasn't unlocked that yet.
Right, the map is opening up for Justin.
Battle Pass isn't there yet.
But the Warriors with that core, right? The core of those four players, the over 35-year-olds. I mean, that should be their name, the over 35-year-olds. That's the group, right? That's the band. Over 35. I mean, that objectively, when is the last time? I mean, they're comparable to the 21-22 Lakers team with Carmelo Anthony and Dwight Howard and all those guys. I mean, that team was old. Was old. This team is also old. There's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of jersey sales, a lot of ticket sales, but the actual results on court, I mean, we saw what the Rockets did last year. We saw what the Thunder did, specifically the Thunder. I mean, the Thunder won the title. What type of team were they last year? They were a team that got after it on the defensive end of the floor, ran in transition, and found their points in pace, right? With pace. I mean, both of the teams in the finals ran with pace, a lot of pace. They up tempo. Pacers,
Who,
ironically, the
who's
name
your
of their
back?
team. The
Who's your
Pacers
backup
and the
pick?
Thunder. I mean, the pace of that series, but the Thunder forcing turnovers, playing with pace, scoring in transition. That's I believe that's starting to become, last decade we had the 3-point era and the breakthrough of the 3-point era. I think this era is about the pace of the game, right? How can we play at a faster pace? And the old guys, yes, they're still with it mentally, but from a physical standpoint, when you have other young teams out there in their prime, such as the Denver Nuggets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, I mean, you're talking about teams out in the Western Conference, the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. The Warriors, I just don't see them playing an
Wait.
entire season, winding up with a high seed and then going through 4 rounds. I mean, the 4 rounds is just a gauntlet. So this to me is a desperation move by the Warriors because they look out and go, well, first, they like the basketball minds, right? In Golden State, Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, all of them, Draymond Green. I mean, tremendous basketball minds. I can see them liking Al Horford and the maturity and professionalism of Al Horford, aside from all of the centers who may have been available out there within the market. But it's really desperation. I mean, it's one of those, we don't like DeAndre Ayton. We're not going to re-sign Kevon Looney. Let's
Where'd
go out
Ayton
and get
go?
Horford. And we all know last year we were putting them on ice. The Celtics were putting them on ice, and the Warriors are just going to start them
Well,
now.
no,
I mean,
I
that's a
don't
problem.
I don't disagree with you from a basketball standpoint, right? I'm on board with you, right? Desperation move. We saw with our own two eyes. Al can't play back to backs. He's 39. All those guys, they have old legs. No disagreement there. But let's not act like from a personal level, from a Celtics level, right? This is, in my opinion, this is weak. Call me out for it, but this is weak. You're going to the team that beat you in the NBA Finals back in 2022. The guy, Steph Curry, that did a ring celebration on your home floor in Game 6 that sent you packing, a magical year that he ended, right? With Draymond Green, who has kicked Jaylen Brown, has gone at Jaylen Brown, has been, this is with the guy Jimmy Butler, who has countless times burnt Boston time and time again, held Boston back from not just one but 2 NBA Finals appearances. That's who Al Horford is joining.
So,
I get it from a basketball standpoint. It's desperation. It's not going to work. I get it. The Celtics, it's a lot of question marks this upcoming year, but we're talking about a loyalty thing. If this were to happen in the NBA in the early 2010s or the mid 2000s, I mean, this is a weak move by Al Horford. I'm sorry. I'm just going to be the one to say it. I love the guy, but this is weak. You're playing with Curry. You're playing with Butler. I mean, you were to ask me, who are the 2 guys that the Celtics, the biggest rivals, 2 teams? I'd tell you the past 6 years, I'd tell you the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors. And what does Al do? He goes and teams up with not the 2 best players on those 2 organizations. I'm sorry. I'm out on Al. You can stay in Golden State. I'll pass.
Wait, I got a counter.
Wow.
I got a counter to that though, real quick.
Rival.
I will say other than the circumstances of the Heat, they're still in their prime. The Warriors desperation move way out of their prime. Other than that, I'll say this: Brad Stevens went in front of everybody this summer, right? In front of all of us, right? The media, right? We're gonna be there one day, all right, folks. We're gonna be there. We're gonna hold the microphone, okay?
Communications team of
right?
Celtics.
Hit us up. I know we look like a Warriors broadcast right now, but CTW, you see the green in there. You see the green.
We'll take care of the branding and all that. Don't worry about it.
But ultimately, Brad Stevens stood in front of everybody this summer. Well, actually sat down in front of a microphone and told us all that Bill Chisholm, everything that Bill Chisholm said is about prioritizing basketball assets, right? We're not prioritizing getting rid of all the salary, right? We're prioritizing basketball assets. Yet, first of all, I mean, look, Drew Holiday's gone. Kristaps Porzingis is gone. Luke Cornett's gone. I mean, you could point to those. But really, the transaction I'm looking at the most that displayed Brad Stevens saying one thing and doing another was the George Niang trade to the Utah Jazz for RJ Lewis Jr., a 2-way player. Shipped out George Niang, who could have been a legitimate rotation piece for the Celtics, making $8 million for a player making $0 towards the Celtics cap this year, who's a 2-way player in RJ Lewis. How are the Celtics prioritizing basketball assets by making that move? They were not prioritizing basketball assets. They were prioritizing getting rid of salary, and that's where the Celtics have been this summer. We know this with all the moves. I mean, the moves prior to that move, but specifically that one, when you're trading away a legit guy for a two-way guy, are you kidding me? But the counter argument to the Al Horford thing here is, if Brad Stevens in the Celtics front office, they're bringing in guys like, oh, Luka Garza and Josh Minot, and hey, you're going to be working alongside Keita here, and we're going to start Sam Hauser. And oh yeah, we're prioritizing basketball assets, but in reality, the team is, I don't want to say they're being cheap, because they've again paid one of the highest payrolls the last 3 years, but now they're cheaping out because they have to. I understand. But imagine you're Horford at the end of his career, you have a chance to play with all these great players versus, I'm going to be playing alongside
those great players have
Minot
hurt you time and time.
But it's like, at this point in
matter.
time, it's like Horford's a champion with the Celtics. They're all like, my point is, they're all washed. It's like the Warriors are washed, Jimmy Butler's washed, Al Horford's washed from what their prime was, and now it's well, I almost see it as they're playing more so together to gain that experience more so than actually compete for a title. They're going to say, oh yeah, we're competing for a title, and Draymond 6 weeks out, we're going to win the title this year. But reality, yes, they're going to compete for that. But I think it's more about the experience of playing with each other than it is actually competing. And that's what's a little bit different from the Ray Allen situations. Ray Allen, I mean, he won a ring with the Heat. I mean, I don't expect Al Horford to, I mean, the Warriors might not even make the playoffs next year. And that sets up the scenario again. Justin, you mentioned, I mean, this is an iffy season for the Celtics. Maybe Tatum comes back near the end of the year. The Celtics are competitive, make some moves over the summer, and one of those moves is Al Horford.
But you don't know.
But then again, this is another question. I mean, Rob, you clearly have stuck your stake in the ground on one side with the narrative of Celtics Nation seeing Al Horford as more of a traitor, versus Justin. I feel like your side is more. I feel like I anticipate your side, Justin, being more so Al Horford. This is not as, I don't think Celtics fans will see him as a traitor. This is more
like
logistical, and he's already done what he's done in Boston. But those are the two sides here.
If it happened, okay, he didn't go to New York. All right, like,
how is it any different though? It's no different in my head.
Well, who cares if he does? I mean, shit.
What do you think, Franco?
It's like, if he's going to New York or something of that sort.
But like, you see what I'm saying? Though? It's like
I think if he goes to a team, New York is a listen. I get it, Rob. I get where you're coming from. Right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I get it, but like, I'm over it. Like, you might not be over it. Like, I'm not. That sounds like a jab. It's not a jab. You might not be over it. I'm over it. Like, we've won our title. Horford's stuck around. Horford's been through the dog days. And we had a great opportunity of going back to back. Does he want to stick around? And I'm a little bit on the head scratching side where, why wouldn't you just retire? Because you
can make an extra $8 million per year for the next 2 years, which is correct. You could even say Al Horford's made so much money, endorsements, contracts. You could say, oh, well, this next $8 million, I'm just going to give it to my fourth kid, or give it to all my children. Something of that. I mean, that would be like that. That's a lot of money. Right?
Put it back in your community.
New York, like an inter-division rival just booted you out of the playoffs. That's who I'd be pretty pissed about. I'd be pissed if he went to a Cleveland, if he went to a New York. Hell, if he went any.
What about when he went to Philadelphia?
I was pissed.
No, I will say the two teams he left pretty bad. Pretty bad. The Sixers and Warriors. No, I'm kind of more on your side, Rob, a little bit. I understand the logistics, but I am like, okay, this is like, come on. It does do something. I just feel like, okay, when Al Horford returns to the Garden in, say, 2050, it's like, will this stain it a little bit? Right? Will this stain it? Does it or does it not?
I see what Justin. I see what you're saying, right? Because
I don't think
frankly, you're
he won a title for us. I don't think it. I don't
right?
Think
No.
What do you want him to do? Sign with the Pelicans?
Yeah,
that's what Kevon Looney did.
Me?
No, but no. He's me.
I don't.
My thing. Here's my thing, and I guess this is kind of my larger point, was that really, in totality, if this was 15 years ago, this decision, I do think this would have been a bigger scaled thing, right? Like I do believe that it kind of shows how times have changed in the NBA a little bit more. But like for me, it's like it from I get it, basketball standpoint makes sense, and from a personal standpoint makes sense. I don't think it's going to hinder his legacy, right? Like I'm not looking at Al Horford and I'm like, I'm not mad, right? I'm not sitting here like I'm not going to boom at the Garden. I'm going to stand up and clap,
like
right?
You sound
no, because I don't think
that
I do think there should be a little bit more of like head scratching and kind of like really like because like I get it and first Al goes to Philly. The second things look like they're kind of turning around. We give him a pass because $110 million for 3 years to go out in Philly is like, that is so much money. And it was such a bad contract where it's like, okay, money talks. And now it's like, okay, you're in your last 2 years of your deal, right? $8 million with Golden State for 2 years, 16 total, or $4 million with the Celtics for a year for 2 years, $8 million. Like my point is that like, I don't see it. I don't see like the reasoning behind this one.
If there's a player,
even offered him a contract to come back.
That's fair. That's a great point. That's a good point.
I'll mention this too. We don't really know what the contract looks like yet. I mean, it's going to be the mid-level exception, so it's going to be somewhere in between $5 and $14 million per year. We'll have to see how much of that mid-level exception Al actually gets. I want to mention this too with Al Horford. He's been old for a long time. Okay, he's only 40, which he's not that old, but he's been old for a while because that contract he received with Philadelphia at that point in his career, he was almost at the same stage of not quite retirement, but he's getting old. The Celtics, it looked like they were trending in the wrong direction after they had, 2018-19, that was supposed to be the championship squad. I mean, everybody's coming back. Kyrie, Hayward, Tatum and Brown, they look amazing, right? That squad completely fails and disbands, and then Al Horford goes, Philadelphia looks like they have a better situation, and I don't know how many years left I really have. And, of course, on top of that, Rob, you mentioned that $110 million contract. I mean, that deal, it was in 2016, people were wondering, that fourth year the Celtics gave him in 2016, is that going to look great in 2020? And then the Sixers went ahead and gave him that fourth year 4 years down the line from 2019. So, I mean, that
from
contract
a basketball standpoint, that also made no sense. Putting him next to Embiid, that was like a get him out of this. Like that, they were paying just to get him out of Boston. That's what that was.
They were paying him. So I'll pay you if you stop destroying Joel Embiid. That's exactly what it is. Like there's no meaning behind that. That's what it is. And Al Horford, say what you want. Sixers fans will tell you he was Joel Embiid's kryptonite. Like he struggled against Al Horford, especially come postseason. And I think that's exactly what Philadelphia did. Said, you know what? We're sick of this. We're going to give him as much as we can right now, and we're going to throw it at him. And if it works out, great. He's worth it. If not, well, we just got screwed. But at least Joel Embiid doesn't have to get destroyed by Al Horford every night.
But
Listen,
Rob,
at
least we're the Sixers and we're used to it.
Rob, I'm sorry you're sour about this. I hate to see him go. I hate to see him go, but I don't care. I don't care. It wasn't increasing our title chances. I love Horford. Like it's like, man, I love Horford. He's going to be 40, right? And this is a year of uncertainty. And if there's anything that I want to come out of this year, it's to, even if we make it to the playoffs, and even if we have a way better year than people expect, it's still a questionable year for the Celtics. Right? It's going to take a lot more than 25 games, Rob, for us to sit here and say, where are we? So you're going to have to adjust.
No, it could actually be less than that, I think.
So
I think in the first 10 games, we could be like, wow, this is either a disaster or a little bit better than we thought.
So I sit here and I kind of a little breath of fresh air in my eyes because I do love Horford and I wish he was in a Celtic uniform until the day he passes away. But at the end of the day, like, this is a clear year where the Celtics have a lot of things to figure out constructually, both contracts and as well as, if half of these players are even going to be around at the deadline, right? Like we were just talking about that in the group chat. Like half these guys probably could not even be here come January, February. We don't know, right? So I'm totally cool with that. I'm cool with Horford, if Porzingis and Drew were going to leave, you figured Horford was going to retire or move on with Jason Tatum being out. And at the time, we didn't know that Tatum was going to be on court workouts in September. So like, let's get that out of the way, right? We had no clue that this was going to be the case with Jason Tatum. Whether that means he comes back this year or not, I don't know, but we'll get into that later, probably tomorrow. But again, I'm cool, man. I'm content. First time he left, not only did he go to Philly, I get it, he got the bag, but like he went to Philly, little sour taste, came here, quest for Banner 18, didn't get that in his first stint. So not only did he go to your rival, but we didn't get that title, and we went to the conference finals, I think once or twice with him. Yeah, twice, I believe, with him before he left. And that left a sour taste. Now he left, been to the NBA finals twice, won a title one of those 2 times. I'm a little bit more content with Al Horford at the age of nearly 40 years old saying, okay, you know what? I'm either going to retire, I'm going to move on, see what's out there. Now, I will say, as I mentioned earlier, if there is a player option in this contract, I would not rule him out. Now, whether he uses that player option to say, you know what? I'm going to wrap it up here. This is my career. I'm going to retire here. This is what I'm going to do. Or he says, Tatum's healthy. Celtics are back. I'll go there for my last year. I do think that leaves the options open for Al Horford. And again, even if he does return in a year or 2 or whatever, I'm not saying that guarantees us the title, but I don't think his plans with the Celtics are done yet. I think he's going to go to Golden State, play ball with Steph Curry and kind of, take it by year. But I'm not mad at Al Horford. Come on now, man. He won his banner 18. If this was 5 years ago and we had unfinished business, if he had left us right now and he says, you know what, instead of retiring, I'm going to go play for a different franchise. It's like, man, 2 stints you left us and we didn't win a title. Are you kidding me? No, I'm content. I'm happy for Al. And you only got to play him twice a year, and we're pretty damn good against those Golden State Warriors in the regular season. And as Seamus mentioned, they got some talented names up and down their roster, but talented maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm okay. I'm content, man. I'm excited for this team. And you know what? Listen, if we knew that coming into this year, this roster was going to look completely different. We knew that. Even if we had won the title, the second tax apron, we saw moves being made right away. You kind of figured once those dominoes fell, is 40-year-old Al Horford really going to resign? Probably not, right? So I could see the little bit of a sour taste with him signing with another franchise rather than retiring. But at the same time, whether he retired or not, he wasn't going to be with the Boston Celtics this year.
Right. And what I see when it comes down to that is it's just the death of rivalries and how those have no real effect on the business aspect of things. It's not like you're a Red Sox
point, I believe.
Right.
It's an effect on the ratings, though, I will say.
Yeah, so I mean, sure. I mean, you can develop a couple more storylines. It's like when someone turns heel in WWE. You can have these types of storylines, great for marketing. The West is absolutely going to be great for marketing. When ESPN is putting on the commercials for those 10 p.m. games, they can throw up Steph Curry's face. They can throw up LeBron's face. They can throw up Luka.
Amazon 11 p.m. this year.
Yeah, I mean, these subscriptions that you're gonna have to start paying to cover.
Yeah, just watch the highlights though, guys. Right, just watch the highlights if you can't.
We're a
highlight league.
We're a highlight driven
or
league.
if the Celtics have to play on Amazon Prime, come to our post-game show and we will fill you in on what happened, so you don't have to pay the subscription.
Yeah, we'll play the highlights.
Wait, we're not barking up that tree with copyright. But yeah,
Franco can pay the fine.
Oh, whoa!
I heard Franco's pockets are deep.
Like Al Horford with the Sixers, deep pockets.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with. I'm with you, Franco, in that aspect, though. Like a rival, does this just show rivalries are not as like dead? Because there is bad blood there. Like, let's not act like there's not.
Yeah, and to add on to the point of when I made the joke about the Pelicans, and sure, there are probably multiple other teams that were interested in Al Horford's services, but how many of those teams was Al Horford interested in playing in? I mean, there's no chance that Al Horford would be joining one of these middle of the ranked teams where he is being relied on to be a number one producer for these guys, and also being someone that is someone
Are we
who
sure
can.
the Warriors aren't?
I was just going to
that?
say, I think the Warriors are going to be pretty middle of the pack in the West. I'm pretty sure they're going to rely on Horford at the center
They
spot.
could be.
Right.
I'm just saying the West. The last 2 years. I mean, well, counting this upcoming season. Okay, so last year and then this upcoming year. I mean, 1 through 14 enters the season thinking they're competitive. Literally, 1 through 14 goes. I mean, maybe not so much title contenders, but you go all the way down. I mean, what? The Utah Jazz are the only definitive team not competing for anything. Every other team is competing for something to some degree. The Phoenix Suns, maybe you could say.
Portland.
But Portland just traded for Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday, yeah.
So,
they
but even them, that's what I'm saying is like they're gonna make a playoff
When
push.
that
The
happens.
Suns want to make a playoff push because the Suns got to think about the Suns. They don't. I mean, they're picks in the future, right?
Yeah,
They don't have
they
their
gotta make.
picks.
And Devin Booker, they're basically relying on that, and this year is
Clippers?
kind of a maker.
The Clippers
Right,
looking
the Clippers are the same exact boat as the
they're
Golden
just hoping
State
they
Warriors.
don't get put in the doghouse by the NBA right now. They're not worried about
players are
NBA.
gonna be
They're
Yeah,
not
they're just
jail.
hoping they can play. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it's like they're hoping they could be 15th at least, right? But I will say to correct this, NBC will be doing the late tips, so don't blame Amazon, blame NBC. So I'm just saying, you could get the company right.
I'm
there.
excited for that though. I hate to get off. I am excited for that.
No, I am too. I think the production's gonna look nice, and of course, if you guys need more production, look, just saying here, just saying. But I do think the West next year is gonna be ultra competitive, 1 through 15, or not 1 through 15, 1 through 14, really, because I mean there are gonna be teams who become injured, are a little worse than they thought. They're gonna fall. I mean, last year you saw the Pelicans were that team clearly in the Western Conference with the Warriors. I mean, they could legitimately be the 14th seed at the end of the year if everything really goes awry. Now, I wouldn't expect that, but if everything really goes awry, the Warriors could certainly slot in below that play. And I mean, look at the Suns last year. The Suns, a lot of us thought the Suns could maybe rebound and be a top seed in the Western Conference last year, and yet they finished below that play-in line. The Warriors could certainly be in the same boat this year. I do want to mention, though, with Al Horford, right now within his career, right? What's impressive about Al up to this point, he's never been a player like PJ Tucker, Taj Gibson, James Johnson right now, who are
Udonis
sitting on the
Haslem.
bench. Yeah, right. That's the Udonis Haslem role, really. I mean, he owns that.
The rocking chair.
Right. He's never been somebody who's sat on the bench and not made an impact on the floor, right? They're not making an impact on the players who are not making an impact on the floor, but they're making an impact in the locker room and on the bench to all the prime players and all the young players still on the team. But I also see a world where Al Horford, he's never been a player of that nature at all. I mean, he's always been an impactful player. That means, I mean, teams have always been giving him money, more than the minimum contract, right? Those are minimum contracted players. Teams have always given Al Horford more than the minimum contract. Next year, right? Next year, I'm saying now Al Horford, he is somebody who is welcoming another child into this world, has many children already, right? His children are growing up. The personal side of the court definitely, or rather the personal side off court does matter for Al Horford. I'm sure he wants to watch his kids grow up. I'm sure he wants to raise his kids. But next year, right? Why couldn't, or rather beyond next season, right? Beyond the season with the Warriors, Al Horford's about to play. Why couldn't Al Horford be one of those bench guys on a minimum deal, say with the Celtics for one more year at the end of his career? Right? I see that. I don't necessarily see that playing out exactly for Al Horford, but I see that being a scenario on the table for him past this contract, because this contract, I believe he's going to, I mean, clearly, I mean, the people are reporting he's going to receive part of the mid-level exception and not the minimum. But past this contract, I mean, Al Horford has never, I mean, even right now with the Warriors are welcoming in Al Horford to be their starting center. Beyond this experiment and stint with the Warriors, maybe there is one more season left where Al Horford, maybe he's not with the Celtics in an impactful sense playing, but he's on the end of their bench. But again, that kind of brings us back to, we don't want to go into this rabbit hole too much again, but it goes back on the conversation of, because Al Horford made this move, is there some internal animosity from the team, from players on the team, from the front office, from whoever, right? I think there's a lot of understanding and a lot of acceptance, but we don't really know, right? We'll know these things in about 5, 6, 7 years when these guys are saying all these things on podcasts. But right now, we don't really truly know everybody, and we don't know everybody's feelings towards Al Horford because of this, whether it's front office, executives, players, coaches, right? People with definitive relationships alongside Al Horford, working alongside Al Horford. Does this move to the Golden State Warriors maybe, Joe Mazzulla is kind of a crazy guy, right? What does Mazzulla think? I think Mazzulla knows this is a business, right? This is definitely a business. But is Mazzulla going, I don't know, that guy, he's not on our team. He wasn't for our team. Like, I just wonder, right, internally what the relationships might look like. I would guess that a lot of people are understanding, because at the end of the day, this has become, the NBA has become ever more so of a business, more so than
Right.
guys getting together from an emotional standpoint, playing for each other. They do that still, right? Those are some of the best teams, but at the end of the day, it's about making that extra dough. It's about making that extra cash. And I can see a lot of people understanding Al Horford is going to play with great players, won a championship here, and he might even be, the Celtics could have offered him. I think we're glossing this over just a little bit. The Warriors are giving Al Horford part of the mid-level exception. It's why the Lakers were in for Al Horford before they signed DeAndre Ayton, and the Nuggets were in for Al Horford as well before they made a couple more transactions. These teams wanted to give Al Horford the mid-level exception, whereas the Celtics, it seems as if their offer to Al Horford, I don't know exactly what it was. I'm not reporting anything right now, but it seems to have been potentially the minimum contract.
Is there a
At first,
report,
because I don't know if that's a report or not, but it
right?
seems
Is
to
that
have been the
reported?
minimum contract, because remember, they were trying to open up salary for that extra mid-level, because you only have teams over the luxury tax line can only spend up to $5 million worth of that mid-level. That mid-level exception is only around $5 million, right? And if you're under the luxury tax line, and that's very important here because the Celtics are over that luxury tax line, and that's been part of that's the whole. I shouldn't say the whole point, but part of the point of the summer is getting potentially under that
Right.
tax line, or getting close to it, at least cutting that tax bill down. But the Warriors, they're well under that tax line. So they can give Al Horford much more than $5 million. They can give him upwards of $14 million if they really want to. And that is something that ultimately, let's see, do I have yeah, okay. So the taxpayer mid-level exception is $5.7 million. So that's the max the Celtics would have been able to give out, is $5.7 million, whereas the non-taxpayer mid-level exception is $14.1 million, which you don't have to give a player the full 14.1. You can give them 7, 8, 9, however much you want. You could spend $5 million. You could use the taxpayer mid-level exception as a non-taxpayer team on a player, right? If you don't want to, it's like a player comes through and you want to sign him with that mid-level exception. Maybe you don't want to give a player $14 million. He's not worth that. Give him that 5. There's different ways to use that mid-level exception, but that is that is a definite point that I don't think we should gloss over at all on this broadcast. Is the Warriors certainly a couple more millions of dollars the Warriors were able to give Al Horford this summer, contrast to the Celtics, who were pinching pennies all summer, and it seems like they weren't willing to, or at least the Celtics were trying to open up that larger mid-level exception. But if they weren't, it doesn't look like the Celtics were all that willing to go the distance to re-sign Al Horford. Because let's face it, too, the Celtics could have just re-signed him without the mid-level exception. The Celtics were trying to open that exception up, yet because the Celtics didn't want to pay him more than ultimately he was worth. The Celtics were not going to pay Al Horford a pretty penny to stay beyond the worth in which he was actually going to emit with the ball club on the floor, which is exemplified by what the roster looks like right now. Because let's face it, last year Al Horford was a guy who we were putting on ice and playing alongside Kristaps Porzingis and sitting back to backs. Next year we were going to rely on Al Horford to be the starting center, and he's going to be playing with this mediocre squad. That just it would not have made much sense to put more money onto the luxury tax bill for Al Horford to fulfill a role that would have been, I don't want to say it would have been defined, but undefined in the actual result of the direction ultimately. But I do want to get to here at the end of our broadcast some memories of Al Horford's.
We got someone in backstage.
Actually, my bad. I didn't recognize him. I recognized him 45 minutes ago, but he's been popping in and out here. So here we go. We're gonna bring Griffin on. We're
getting a live report from Disney World.
Live from Orlando, Florida, and Disney World. Griffin, there may be a little bit of a transition here. So, Griffin's audio is terrible. Let's
Can you hear me?
Let's get this to 5 minutes. Here we go.
Wait,
okay,
can you guys hear me? All right. First of all, I gotta show back there if you guys can see the Tower of Terror up there. But
this is a live report from Disney World, folks. This is
as live as you.
This is a CTW exclusive right now. Just want to point that out, everybody.
And I have to mention, like, I've been vlogging this whole time, so you guys are gonna get like a whole video of this.
So excited.
Okay. We talked about this actually the other day.
I have to say the background noise. I'm sorry about it. I'll try to talk over it, but I want to say I was right in line for the Star Wars ride, and I see that Al Horford signed with the Warriors, and this is my ultimate first thought is like everyone saw it coming, you know, like we've seen this coming since, the summer started. I mean, we've seen it this whole time, but it was kind of still a punch in the gut because you look at that, and I'm sorry, I'm sweating. It's hot here in Florida.
Why are you moving around so much? Like you're like, it's like, are you evading somebody? Like, are you okay?
I'm heading to the Star Wars ride actually again. We're going back to the Star Wars ride. Actually, if you guys want to see some Star Wars, hold on, I'll walk a little faster and give you guys a quick view of it. But yeah, all of this is gonna be on a big video, but you guys get some.
Stay focused here, Griffin. Al Horford. Al Horford. Here we go.
Yeah, like I mean, this is thanks to Al Horford. You know, like
I gotta say, first of all, wait a minute. We can't even see that. We can't even see that.
All right. Let me try to come up here. Hold on.
We can't even see that. So you're gonna have to.
I know I'm.
Al Horford, Griffin. Al Horford.
All right. Check this out. And then I can see Al Horford. Oh, it just shot us.
This is a moment. I mean, I just heard lasers on the broadcast. I just heard lasers.
Yeah.
This is.
We're going into Star Wars.
I'm not. What is this? What are you on a ride right now?
No. I'm going to a ride though. Like right now, we're going to Star Wars. But
Griffin.
All right, back on track.
Al Horford.
Back on track. So Al Horford. Anyways, Al Horford. So we saw it coming. Sorry, I'm distracted. We're in Disney World right now, but we saw this coming from day one. I mean, it's obvious, and sorry, I'm sidetracked, you guys. I just want to give you guys a huge.
Sit down. Find a bench.
I'm sitting.
There you go. Yes.
You're good.
Okay, right, here we go.
All right, it's hot. Like I said, I'm sweating out here, but we're still
in Florida.
But again, I mean, the obvious is we saw it coming.
What the fuck are you saying?
No, not now.
I think the man forgot to mute his mic. My lord.
All right. I'm sorry, guys. So, anyways,
okay.
Horford, but you look at the Warriors situation. And you look, this is the first transaction they've made all offseason. And for Al Horford, he could finally get a bag. And the Celtics were, and I'm probably repeating what you guys said because I haven't been able to watch the whole broadcast. But from the Warriors' perspective, they haven't spent a lot of money this offseason. So they could have given him a lot fatter of a paycheck than the Celtics can. And all right, I'm walking back to Star Wars land, so just bear with that. But at the end of the day, I wish.
What is going on?
What? Can you guys hear me?
Continue. Yes, continue. Sorry.
All right. So at the end of the day, like, I wish Al Horford played his last days in Boston. And this is going to sound like a bad perspective, but I was almost banking on him retiring rather than going to the Warriors because it just hurts. You know, ever since we lost to the Warriors in 22, this is just a big punch in the face now. But I'm happy for Al at the end of the day. And he's getting the paycheck, which is a huge plus. You know, he has kids. He's going to want to pay for their college. He's going to want to do that. So it's obvious why he did this. As much
He's got well over $100 million, Griffin. He's going to be able to afford college.
Wait, that's how. Wait. How much did he get paid? I don't even know. I'm not Disney World guy.
This man thinks that a minimum contract, a mid-level exception contract from the Warriors, like if Al Horford doesn't get it, his kids aren't going to college.
Minimum wage.
And also not taking into account the 20 years of his career as well.
You guys want to see a quick Disney World fit? And then I'll sign out because I'm about to go on a ride.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we'll put you guys down. We're in Star Wars.
Okay.
Can we focus this camera in?
Okay.
Can we
Can
focus
you give us a jig?
A little jig out there. Come on.
I think I'm gonna go on a ride now. So
Okay.
we're in Star Wars land.
Just me now.
All right. Nope.
But
No, I was trying to solo his shot, but
geez, I was gonna say, do you guys want to come on the Star Wars ride? But if not, I recorded it, and it's gonna be in the vlog. So
Wait, you recorded? You're going on it again?
yeah, we're going on it again. It was a lot of fun.
Who's we? You're with people?
Yeah, I'm with my family.
Okay.
Well,
Well, find them. Where'd they go?
We're out here. We're out here.
Griffin is a lost child at Disney World right now. This is what's happening.
All right, we're actually. Hold on, you guys get a little exclusive.
That is
we're going on the
so
ride.
unevenly cut.
I don't know how long. I'll let you guys go in a second, but I'm gonna show you guys something cool, and then I'll.
Thank you.
You're gonna let
This
us.
better
go.
be something cool. Better be something cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So look, we're like in the Star Wars line right now, but like, check this out. We got a waterfall right here.
Okay. That's something. That's something.
But I want to show you guys R2-D2 because I just saw this guy earlier when I was there.
This guy.
This guy. We met R2-D2.
he was a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
How old are you?
And I have to say, like, I think, and we were talking, Seamus, about how I was like George Niang, but I think I'm less than him now from Disney World. From all this walking. I hope you guys heard me. I'm just saying I think I'm less than George Niang.
Are you close to R2-D2 right now?
No,
Your family.
You're not. Are you close?
Miles?
Can no one know where you are?
Yeah, I'm in the ride. I'm almost in the ride.
Can you wait? Are you going to show us R2-D2 in the next 25 seconds or no?
Look like you're in the Demonator cave.
I think I should. Here, should I save it for the video? Because I don't know how long until I see R2-D2.
I think you should say it for
Yes, because
all right, but anyways, best regards, Al.
if you run into Al Horford, jump back onto this broadcast. If not, please go find your family.
Why?
Yeah,
He's there?
No, my family's right here. My family's with me.
Please. Okay.
Just
I was gonna say.
yeah, just make sure your family knows you're there.
Yeah, we're in line now for the Star Wars.
I worry Griffin is gonna get lost down there. This
Do
is
you
why
guys
we're
want to
doing
come on
it.
the ride with me, or should I just save it for the video?
Again, save it for the video.
Save it.
Good
Save it.
All
right, Griffin.
To close this out, good luck to Al Horford, but not too much luck because I'm saying what Fleeza said. Like, not the best of luck, though, because I don't want him crapping on the Celtics. But, you know, he's always the Celtics in my heart. So, love you, Al, and love you guys. Peace. Enjoy the rest.
Enjoy the Star Wars ride.
Subscribe right now. Everyone go subscribe. Go subscribe. You guys are getting content from Disney World. You guys have to subscribe.
Yeah. Disney World, give us some. We just did a free broadcast.
Yeah, and
We need that Disney money.
So
That
go
ESPN money.
subscribe. Go subscribe right now. Like, I'm gonna be broke. I am broke when I get back. So.
All right, Griffin.
Peace, guys.
All right, Griffin. Thank you for joining the broadcast here tonight.
Whose idea was
As
that?
we-
Whose
Can I
idea was
just-
that? We're gonna have a
Well,
meeting
so-
after this show.
Can I just say
Whoever's
something?
idea is that?
I just want to
Oh
say
my
something.
God. Okay.
We've been doing this for what? And we're gonna get back on track, Seamus. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you get us back on track. But we've been doing this for 5 years, and I think that was the craziest 7-minute stretch that we've ever had.
That was
I
insane.
honestly think
That
it
was-
was. I really.
that was a really bad look.
Here's the thing, though. If
Franco,
people watch
mute your
the
mic next
first
time.
45 minutes of the broadcast, they're really going to like that. And they watch. Here's the thing: the first 45 minutes is for the basketball fans. The last 15
mic was
minutes
not
is
muted.
for the
Oh shit!
I don't know fans. But I do have some breaking news here. All right, and it has to do with our situation we're talking about, which we're almost to the end here. But some breaking news: per Shams Charania, free agents Gary Payton II and DeAnthony Melton have committed to signing deals to return to the Golden State Warriors. Sources tell ESPN. Payton, Melton, and Al Horford are now locked in for the Warriors' 25-26 roster. So right in the middle of this broadcast, we don't report the Al Horford signing live, but hey, how about his new teammates, Gary Payton II and DeAnthony Melton? The Warriors, all the dominoes seem to be falling for Golden State right now. And is the next one Kuminga? I don't know.
That's
but
the thing. That's what they were saying. They were saying that these moves, these free agents, the Warriors have kind of had verbally locked up for quite a while, but they were waiting to officially announce these signings when the Kuminga deal was done. So now, behind the scenes, is there a Kuminga trade that's either done already or being done right now? Probably. I think there could be
a sign and trade, you're saying?
I am
With
the
the
Sacramento
Kings
Kings
or with the is there another the Kings were the team
do.
that re-engaged.
I do think
this is where
there's something going on.
Maybe they're I'm just speculating here, but maybe the holdup might be in regard to what picks are going back and forth, because the names don't change. We talked about it on a broadcast earlier in July with this Kuminga situation. The names don't really change for Sacramento and Golden State. Sacramento didn't want to give up XYZ in the deal. Golden State wanted XYZ in the deal, and there weren't any other names. Because you go and look at the names, right? On the I could go through this in a detailed manner, but off the top of my head, I don't want to speak incorrectly here, but the top half of the roster, you have a couple guys that aren't going to be in the deal because they make way too much money, right? And then you have the back half where you're going, well, you need to. It's the same thing with the Celtics, right? You piece together all these minimum deals, and you have 8 minimum deals together, and you can only get to about $16 million, right? $16 to $20 million. That's where the Kings roster is as well. There are only a couple of those middling names in there that really matter within the sway of the Jonathan Kuminga situation. So that's what I wonder if the picks are holding up that. But
I find it interesting. It was also committed again. Not signings, they're committing. It's unusual. I feel like 3 players in one day committed.
Well, this is where I kind of started on it earlier, but the reporting, we need to get back to free media. CTW is on a mission. Okay, we're on a mission to become a real media source. A media source like, for example, Pablo Torre, who is not confined and restricted by all these corporate guidelines, right? Because all these reporters out there that are highly interconnected and okay, we have more breaking news.
They just signed their 56 overall pick to a 4-year
Not
contract.
that was breaking news, but Will Richard, congratulations, from Florida, national champion now with the Golden State Warriors. What was I talking about here?
Well, the Warriors are just signing anybody and everybody right now.
Well, this is it's almost interesting because it's like, are we going to get?
I think a lot of rosters are going to be going through this.
Well, no, that's why I'm saying I think something with Kuminga has already been decided.
Is it an NBA offseason without a 2-day before training camp deal, right? Remember Drew Holiday with the Celtics? That was right before training camp. I feel like something always pops up right around now.
The NBA is going to next week we're definitely going to see a lot of finalized moves. There are too many good NBA free agents on the market right now that are not going to be without a job come opening day of the season. like Quentin Grimes, Jonathan Kuminga are the two headliners. Obviously, Al Horford was falling behind them. Then there's the Malik Beasley situation, which is going to be interesting how that's solved. But a lot of talented players that are going to be added in some back ends of rosters, and also a lot of rosters in the NBA right now, especially on the Eastern Conference side of things, having a lot of question marks to be filled.
Yeah, well, a lot of the rosters are set up to this point. Does anybody remember what I was talking about before I went on a whole tangent about more breaking news? My Lord, I've been trying to figure out for the past 3 minutes.
Well, you said that we were trying to
we were doing.
I don't remember.
Think after the last 7 minutes, we're going to be able to.
I do not remember my point here. I feel like it's one of those moments you feel like you have an excellent point and you're going, you know what, I'm on the clock until the next time I speak, but I better remember the point, and then you don't. But ultimately, Al Horford is a Golden State Warrior, unfortunately, but fortunately for others. I do want to go around the panel here, though. I do want to go around the panel and just, I know this show's gone off the rails, but let's bring it back to Al Horford. And remembering Al Horford, there's some feelings, some negative feelings, some positive feelings about Al Horford, but I want to touch more on the positive moments of Al Horford, right? With the Boston Celtics. And he had a lot of them from 2016 all the way to 2025. Yes, there was a little bit of a hiatus in there, but a ring at the end of his career, everybody will remember that. However, going around the panel here, what are some moments on the court, of course, that you guys will always remember from Al Horford in a Celtics uniform? Justin, we'll start with you on this one.
Few off the top of my head, I think Super Bowl Sunday against Portland, the game winner. Yeah. That play wasn't designed for Horford. Ball inbounds to Horford. Brad Stevens tells him, go, go, go. Ball comes to you, you take it. I think, obviously, that series against Milwaukee a couple of years ago where gives Giannis a bump. Giannis starts talking to him. Horford doesn't engage, just goes, all right, next play. A little bit later on, what does he do? Comes down, dunk, and one on Giannis. And then he kind of just flexes his muscle and scream. And Al Horford, not really one to kind of go on the extraordinary emotional tour, but, that kind of felt like a series-defining moment in that series, obviously, besides that, Jason Tatum heroics in that game 6. But and then another one from his first stint in Boston was in Philadelphia. And, here's a young Tatum, a rookie Tatum, hopping on Al's back saying playoff Al in the background of an interview. When you look at Al Horford and his career as a Celtic, he's been through so many different eras of this team and so many different players. I just am so grateful that Al Horford was a Celtic, and I thought he truly embodied what a Boston Celtic was. He was a winner. He was a leader. And there were nights where his role was significantly less than it was overall, and he was okay with that if it meant that it was helping us win. When he came back to the Celtics for that second stint and Rob was healthy, it was kind of like, hey, listen, we know you've kind of been the head honcho, but we're gonna sit you on the bench, and he was okay with that. And when Kristaps Porzingis came in, you're gonna come off the bench, he was okay with that, as long as it meant winning basketball. So obviously, I'm super, super happy that Al Horford was a Celtic. I'm happy that he did not leave on this term with unfinished business. 2 finals appearances, 2 Eastern Conference final champion, and an NBA champion with the most illustrious franchise in the NBA and one of the most in all the sports. So, I really have nothing negative to say about Al Horford, and I know he's leaving us for the second time, but I mean, come on, Banner 18, we've been looking for that ever since we were kids, right? I mean, Pierce and Garnett left. We've had these moments. You got to remember, we've also grown up alongside these guys, Tatum and Brown, like this core, right? And Horford's kind of guided us, not only Jason and Jalen, but also us fans, to the promised land, right? Like we've been there so many times, and Horford helped us get over that hump, and I'm forever grateful for that, guys. So, those 3 moments stick with me. I think they'll always stick with me. And, also one more quick one is him kind of beating the floor when he finally got to the NBA Finals. I know we ended up losing against the Warriors, the team now he's on, ironically, but just the moment of realizing how he is the ultimate professional and he had never made it to that level before. So going through that together, and like obviously us growing up, like 2008, we went to the finals and we won it. In 2010, we went to the finals and we lost it. But I don't know about you guys. We were young. We weren't religiously covering this team. We weren't religiously watching them on an 82-game basis, covering them preseason, summer. Like we weren't there yet. So to be able to go through that and experience that, legitimately experience that for the first time, it was special. So, again, thank you, Al, for everything. It's special.
I got an obscure one. It actually came in the Game 6, 2022 finals. We lost, obviously, to his new team, Golden State Warriors. But we were down by like 11, and there was just no energy in the game, and there was just nothing going. We had nothing. Tatum didn't have it. Brown was kind of shaky, and Horford blocks Wiggins on a drive. He like sends it into the third row, and it sparked like a 6-0, 7-0 run late in the third. And it was like, oh my God, here we go. The Celtics are coming back. And I think that's just the best part about Al, was that anytime a player didn't have it, he showed up. He had it. I mean, Justin, you nailed so many ones. That Game 4 where he saved our season in Milwaukee against the Bucks. I think he had 26 that game. He was awesome. 30. But that Game 6, I know we lost, but I remember just because I was there live and I was watching, I was like, oh, like Al was giving us the juice, right? You could tell he was tired. You could tell he was exhausted, but he was always giving us the juice, and he always did give us the juice. So I'm with you. I'm going to miss him. Very appreciative for what he did for us. He was awesome. But that Game 6, that little 5-minute stretch where I thought Al was going to send it to a Game 7, I'll always remember that. Seeing it live, that was cool. It was unfortunate we lost to the team he's playing for now, Al Horford, but forever love.
So one of the I have a photo.
Here we go.
I was waiting.
Here is if I can get this lighting properly. Geez, you'd think with being a producer you'd know how to light a photo, but there's a this is Game 1 of the Brooklyn Nets series, and in between Al Horford's legs right there's a young gentleman next to one of his best friends. That's me and my buddy Sam Bullman at that game. For that was actually the game that Kyrie Irving, the start of that series that we swept them. Kyrie had his moments, and we ended up costing himself $50,000. But during all those NBA playoff series, I was very fortunate to be within the arena during those games, and there were. One thing that Al Horford was very known for and very good at is being able to feed off the hometown energy. If there was going to be a switch in the energy, and if you've ever been to TD Garden during a playoff game, you can feel when this team is about to get momentum because the crowd is behind it. And Al Horford is the one who really fed into that a bunch of moments. And then even on away games, when he was face-to-face with Giannis, he was kind of the guy that we could look at and was the counterpunch for a lot of these team stars. Joel Embiid, as we brought up earlier on in the show, he was always the one that was willing to take on those responsibilities. And from a personal and as a fan of being a Boston sports fan, he is one of the longest tenured Bostonian sports players in the past few years. I mean, you think about it, anyone who is on teams back in 2015, he was probably one of the last players. I'm sure if I went through all 4 major Boston sports teams, most of them don't even have a guy from 10 years ago on their roster. So he was kind of the last blow of the whole 2015s, 2014s, that beautiful era of Boston sports history is all now in the past. And with Al Horford moving on to Golden State. And I think that from a playing perspective, I think that him moving on is a detriment to the historical value. Not too much of it, because his career, when he is inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame, it is going to be because he is he was a Boston Celtic. It's not going to account for most of his Atlanta Hawk years, even though he was able to find his stride there alongside Paul Millsap. It's definitely not going to be his time in Philly. It's definitely not going to be his time in Oklahoma City. And I think that this little Warriors stint is one of those things where you see those photos of 5 years later saying, you wouldn't believe this guy played for X team. Like, this photo is not Photoshop. That was the trend we made a couple months ago.
What was super special, like a moment, was, if you guys remember that Cleveland series a couple years ago, Game 5 at home, Celtics closing that series out. Celtics have had trouble closing series out in recent years. Not necessarily meaning they lose the series, but like if it's an elimination game at home, Game 5, they've struggled, especially 2022, 2023 against the Hawks. Remember that game, specifically at home. And then, you flash forward a year ahead, you're at home against Cleveland, a chance to take the series and head back to the conference finals. And Al Horford hit some big-time shots in that Game 5 to really kind of extend that lead and make it a blowout. And I just remember, and there's a picture, I could bring up the pictures right away from that Game 5, kind of a sigh of relief, like Horford, just emotions coming out. And usually you see somebody jumping and screaming and throwing their arms over like a poster dunk or a great rejection block. There's a wide open three-pointer at the top of the key for Al Horford that forced a Cleveland timeout, and that essentially clinched Boston that Game 5, and they were back to the conference finals to face an inexperienced Indiana Pacers team. That moment right there was like, it was just electrifying. And that's almost a moment you kind of looked and you saw it. If you go back at the highlights, it's like, was that the moment that the Celtics realized that they could really finish out this postseason and just purely dominate anybody they see in front of them? And I know Cleveland was missing a few guys, but that moment, watching Al Horford react like that, I remember the moment getting chills. And I look back at these photos now of that specific game. When you look up Al Horford, and it still gives chills. It still gives he gave everything. Like his veins popping out of his neck, his fist clenched, he's jumping off the ground. It was a wide open three-pointer at the top of the key. Like, we're not talking a game winner. We're not talking about a dunk. We're not talking about a block. We're talking about a wide open three at the top of the key leading to a timeout and a blowout of a elimination game at home. It just told you how the type of player Al Horford was, what it meant to him to win. Not for him to win, but for the Boston Celtics to win, right? We're talking the greatest franchise in the NBA. And I'm not just saying that being biased. It is what it is, 17-17 or 18-17, 18-12. But Al Horford was a Boston Celtic through and through. We talk about Marcus Smart. You got to throw Al Horford in that conversation. Maybe even now that Al Horford is an NBA champion with the Boston Celtics, put him above him. And that's no disrespect to Marcus Smart.
What is more likely to get put in the banners, 36 or 42?
I mean, we're talking the Boston Celtics, so I think Taco Fall's name is still up there for grabs in retiring numbers. But I mean, absolutely, Al Horford, it should be in consideration. If there's anybody right now, it's Al Horford in my eyes. I mean, truly, this guy could have fit in with any era of Boston Celtics basketball. You could have thrown him in there alongside the front court with Bill Russell. You could have thrown him in there in the 86 Celtics. You could have thrown him in there with Kevin Garnett and Kendrick Perkins. They faced him in the first round of that 2008 championship run. So you really could have tossed him in anywhere in. And I mean that. He really embodies what being a Boston Celtic is, and he played with passion, he played with heart. And if there's going to be something that the Celtics miss, it's going to be his leadership. Maybe not so much his skill set, but it's going to be his leadership and what he brought to winning basketball, what he brought to winning culture, and how much every night he believed that the Boston Celtics would win the basketball game, win the NBA championship. He put all his chips in, and he came out with an NBA championship, and I can't say anything but thank you to Al Horford.
I always go back on a quote from Marc Gasol's Instagram page. Back when the Memphis Grizzlies traded Marc Gasol to the Toronto Raptors, where Marc Gasol would eventually go on to win his first ever NBA championship with the Raptors in 2019. But I go back on this quote a lot. Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened, right? The era of Al Horford, as we know it right now, and we've already gone through this before in our timeline of covering the Celtics, Al Horford is no longer a Celtic. But during his time with the Boston Celtics, the man made impacts beyond the court. All right. He definitely for the Boston Celtics did a lot. But just think about this. An entire generation of young Celtics fans, including ourselves, okay, as analysts and fans of the team. We're analysts first, but fans secondly, right? And we grew up during the Al Horford era. Al Horford, when he signed with the Boston Celtics in 2016, I was 13 years old. Now, Al Horford, as he signs with the Golden State Warriors, officially exiting the Celtics facility, I'm 23 years old. 23. I was 13 when he first signed with the Celtics. 23 now. 23. Right. I mean, just think, we grew up with Al Horford. We grew up with him. And an entire generation of Celtics fans grew up with Al Horford. And Al Horford, through that time, I mean, he set the standard of culture. Justin, you mentioned it. He embodied what it meant to be a Boston Celtic. He set the standard of professionalism, right? Al Horford, he always set the standard of focus. Okay, this is how it's going to get done. And I've mentioned it a million times throughout this past season. Look at the routine in which Al Horford participates in on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis. Al Horford did not fall apart into his late 30s. It was always muscle milk, right? Muscle milk with Al Horford. He set the standard for the entire team when it came to professionalism, when it came to the focus on the task of what needed to be done, and how a player handles the routine of being a professional basketball player, right? A person handles the routine of being a professional basketball player, the discipline, right? The discipline of that routine and the discipline of taking care of your body and watching film and going out and executing what the game plan is. I mean, Al Horford set that standard within the Celtics locker room. And not only did he set the tone and standard within the Celtic locker room, we all grew up with Al Horford. I mean, we can take the concepts in which Al Horford, we saw from him on court and off court, we can take those into real life and apply those to other things such as the careers we work in or even this exact program. So even though Al Horford, he's not a Boston Celtic anymore and he won't be roaming around Massachusetts, at least not this next season, his impact, Al Horford's impact, he's still around. He's still around within this program. He's still around within Celtic Nation. And it's not him physically, but it's all the concepts and it's all the examples. It's all of the moments that he brought us that not only can the physical Boston Celtics who are playing on the court now take with them, Brown and Tatum specifically, into the future as stars, but it's all of us too as fans who all watched him do what he did for the past 10 years. And the last 10 years too, while growing up, all of us specifically. So Al Horford, for me, his impact, him and Marcus Smart, I mean, they are just different, right? Players go from franchise to franchise. But Al Horford, and even you throw Marcus Smart into this conversation, they're just different. And I would say consider both of them as retired numbers, because I'll mention this too. 36, 42, they're not that popular, okay? 9 with Derek White, 7 and 0. That's going to be a little popular, right? David Litz, but both of those players, you got to consider them Raptors one day. But I do want to get to some memories here when it comes to Al Horford, because I wanted to give that on Al Horford. But first, or rather, lastly here, before we jump off this broadcast, there are a couple key memories. First, In 2016, Al Horford signs with the Celtics, plays the first couple of games, bangs his head. I don't remember if it was an elbow on the floor or something. Banged his head. He was out 9 straight games with a concussion. So Al Horford was out a pretty nice period of time. And the Celtics were kind of middling around this time. The 16-17 Celtics, everybody remembers the end, right? Ooh, IT for MVP, and they made the conference finals. They challenged, they didn't really challenge the Cavs, maybe for one game, right? But everybody remembers the number 1 seeded Celtics. Well, at the beginning of the year, the Celtics were 500 that season, and partially due to the fact one of their top free agent signings, Al Horford, had been out for nearly 10 games. I mean, he was out for 9 games, and he came back during a game against the Detroit Pistons. And I believe it was a Friday night game,
And
if
winner.
I'm not mistaken. And there were 2 sequences. We had 2 sequences Al Horford won the game for the Celtics on. First sequence, Celtics have the ball. Celtics down 1. Jay Crowder, he launches a 3 from the corner. Marcus Smart, he comes flying in, tries to put the ball back up and in, fails. Al Horford literally, I swear the ball falls into Al's hands. And watching the video, I go, did he think that was going in? Because it just falls into his hands and he just flips it. Like he literally just, it was like a Sam Hauser 3 where he just boom, boom, like just flip it up, right? Flips it up and in. And then, of course, there's a second left on the clock for the Pistons to go down and score. It's only a 1-point game at this point. Al Horford puts in the go-ahead bucket on the other end of the floor. And this is where another interesting name comes into play here. The Pistons give the ball to Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines, under desperation, turns around, tries to take a shot, and Al Horford, get that ish out of here, all right? Al Horford blocks it into the first row, and the Celtics exit Detroit with a win. And at that moment in time, I remember it was just, specifically at that moment in time, the Celtics were 500, middling. Al Horford had signed over the summer. The Celtics finally got over the hump of the Celtics finally landed a premier free agent, because for years, I mean, there'd been none. I mean, Ray Allen was really the last one, or rather, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen acquiring stars, rather. They were the last stars in which the Celtics had really acquired. Al Horford was the next in 2016. Coming back in that game after missing 9 straight games and coming up with that sequence on the road and coming out with the win, I remember in that moment being just proud to, because we're analysts here, but be a Celtics fan, all right? Like in that moment, as a Celtics fan, I'm sitting there going, this is just one of those moments where you're proud to be a fan right now. We're 500. We just signed a star. He came back and he won us a game. Emphatically won us a game. That was Al Horford. That was nearly 10 years ago. But that moment, along with later that season, I think this was really the moment Al Horford became a Celtic, because he broke his ties with the Atlanta Hawks. If anybody remembers, back in 2016, the conversation was, the Atlanta Hawks, Al Horford or Dwight Howard? Oh, they signed Dwight Howard. He's maybe better than Al Horford. And then it was the Hawks and Celtics fans going at each other. Oh, no, Dwight Howard. No, Al Horford. No, Dwight Howard. And it was a huge argument on which center was more valuable. Well, halfway through the season, the Celtics, who at the time had a nice rivalry with the Atlanta Hawks, halfway through the season, Dwight Howard at the Garden, Al Horford's, of course, on court as well. They get into a little scuffle, and Al Horford is the one that's really getting up and getting in his face. And I just remember in that moment as well thinking, Al Horford has officially come to our side. He's battling his old team, the player who, I mean, let's face it, replaced him. Dwight Howard replaced Al Horford in Atlanta. He's battling against him, battling against his old team. That was the moment where I felt like Al Horford, his blood started to become green, right? That's when he started to really bleed green. But then 3 other moments here real quick. The confetti game in 2018, all-timer Al Horford. I mean, that was one of those where, Sixers fans, a lot of trash talk. There's a lot of Al Horford, old, whatever. And then he just shows up. If Papa Al shows Embiid how it's done. I mean, we were just saying, we've seen that many times throughout his career. But 2 other ones, the Bucks. Justin, you already mentioned it. I won't go too deep on it, but I used to have it as my screensaver. The little, yep, Giannis, you just dunked on me, gave me a little extra. Like, I'll remember that. And then, of course, Al Horford goes out, scores 30 points, dunks all over Giannis, comes up with one of the more iconic moments in Celtic history in my mind, really, against the opponent and the situation, ultimately. but that was in 2022. Justin, you mentioned that. And then lastly, against the Warriors in game one, flexing on the Warriors crowd after an and one. And that just felt like a moment because the Celtics had finally broken through to the finals. They're playing the Warriors, and up to that point, the stats for teams playing. Okay, here
Sorry.
we go. You're good. You're good. The stats, we're almost done here, folks. We're almost done. The stats for teams playing the Warriors in a game one of any series up to that point were not very good, right? I mean, the win percentages were not very high, and the Celtics went in there and actually won a ball game, and much to the credit of Al Horford. But those are just some of the memories that pop to my mind. I got to say, I have a laptop sitting across my room right now. That laptop, got it in August of 2016, immediately put Al Horford on the screen. Right at that point, got that laptop in August of 2016. Al Horford signed in June, July of 2016, right, right in there, July of 2016. He hadn't even played a game for the Celtics yet. Grew him up as the screensaver of that laptop with him holding up the jersey. It's been the screensaver ever since that point, even through the moment where he was gone. When he was gone, it was still there. It was still there.
You want to hear something crazy? Al Horford.
I'm gonna get this.
Al Horford signs with the Celtics. The Score puts a jersey swap thing graphic up on, to break the news. And I remember I saw that and I thought that was Al Horford's jersey number. It was 42 and it wasn't confirmed yet. He literally just signed. And I don't know if you guys know what Lid's locker room is, but it's like Lid's, but it's like jerseys as well. And we had one of those at my local mall at the Solomon Palm Mall out in Marlboro. And at the time you could get a blank jersey. And this is when the jerseys were still Adidas. So they weren't even Nike yet. And you also didn't have to show ID back then. Like nowadays you have to show your ID. You can't just make whatever player you want at the store. And I made an Al Horford and made it 42. And I crossed my fingers hoping that that's what he was going to pick was 42. Otherwise, I would have had a number 42 Horford jersey, which I guess probably would have made it a little bit more special because, it's like, but I like to think
like the 11 Tatum jersey.
I was a number 42, an 11 Tatum jersey or number 9 Jaylen Brown jersey. I'd like to think I was the first person ever with the Celtics Al Horford jersey. And in our high school, I was a freshman, and in our high school summer league games, we just our school colors were green. So we'd just wear green T-shirts or green whatever to summer league games. We didn't have jerseys back then for summer league. I wore my Al Horford jersey to summer league. And everybody, dude, nobody could figure out where I got it because he just signed that day. Literally that day. Maybe the day after. And everybody, where did you get Al Horford jersey? How do you even have his number? This and that. Based it off of a Photoshop jersey swap off of Instagram. Did it, went to the store, got it done. And I'd like to think that I was the first ever person with an Al Horford Celtics jersey, even before Al Horford. That's pretty cool. And it's got the Adidas logo on the side, before you went Nike. So it was pretty cool.
Adidas, that's the all of a sudden, that's the real gauge of an OG within the basketball community. You have Adidas jerseys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Could I just, I didn't want to include this, my personal Al Horford story from in my interlude forum and my praise forum, but I live nearby a package store, and this was around the time that he was signed to the team. So me and my buddy were playing basketball out in front of my house, and someone who was attending that package store walked across the street and saw us playing basketball, grabbed the basketball. As he was winding up to shoot, went Al Horford, shot it absolutely airball.
Say Al Horford was the one that came over and started playing basketball with you.
No,
like, what?
No.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, definitely not Al Horford. Definitely someone of a Cape Cod liquor store stereotype, and screamed Al Horford, completely airballed it, high-fived me and my friend, and skipped away.
Most Cape Cod interaction ever.
Of course, that was Franco's story. It was a package store and a picture of him and Al Horford's crotch. Of course, those are your memories of Al Horford.
So a little show and tell here. I apologize. The laptop, I know it's a little old here, but first of all, the laptop on the back. So this tape right here, this tape is kind of, I don't know if this is a bad story or not, but when Isaiah Thomas was traded away from the Celtics for Kyrie Irving, this tape used to say Irving on it. I don't know if you can there's kind of an R, but this was the tape that I put over my Isaiah Thomas jersey when Kyrie, like it says Irving, right? But here's the backstory with this. The internet did not like that at the time. Because Isaiah Thomas, I understand people were in love with Isaiah at the time, and you go, okay, here's the new point guard. But it's been on my laptop for almost 10 years now. But anyway, here's Al Horford. He's also been on my laptop for 10 years. This has been my screensaver for nearly
in the old practice facility too.
9 years. Yeah, that's the photo. And funny enough, I wanted to find this photo for the broadcast, but like I want to say the clear version of it, almost I couldn't find it anywhere. I mean, there are distorted versions of it, some blurry vision, some blurry vision-like photos of it, but the clear one I can't quite find out there. So that's how old this photo is. I can get that for you. I bet we could. I bet we could find it. It was quick search. Quick search. It's one of those like, could I just find this right away? And
let me throw Gaussian blur and we're good.
But there you go. But anyway, Al Horford. No longer with the Celtics. I'm sure that'll be my screensaver for probably ever with this laptop. But anyway, that's going to do it for us here.
10 years, huh?
10 years. And what's weird is it's really 9, but it's close enough to 10. Let's just say
we round up.
And it's kind of like Marcus Smart's career with the Celtics too, 9 seasons. It's like, he played here a decade. But anyway, that is going to bring us to the end of CTW Live.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Franco, we will be back here tomorrow, and we'll be talking maybe about more positive things. Just saying, with Media Day. Media Day is always positive for everybody. Everybody believes they have a chance. Everybody believes they've built the best roster in NBA history, and now they're about to show that on the basketball floor. But, Franco, I want to confirm with you right now. Do we have the music rolling? Do we have the music? All right. Let's get out of here, folks, before Griffin comes back here. I'll just say that. but that's going to do it here for us here on CTW Live. Do not forget, everybody, to like, subscribe, follow, do whatever.
You don't have
YouTube
to go. We're scared.
Our Instagram pages, Celtics Talk Weekly, Celtics Rising, Celtics.everyday, and Celtics Nation Rise. Do not forget to like, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. That's the third one. Turn on the post notifications for our Instagram pages and, of course, our YouTube page here on Celtics Talk Weekly. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. I am your host, Seamus Zarlingo. Alongside me here, Justin Lowe, Rob Haytayan, and Nick Franco.
No socks, baby.
Saying goodbye to Al Horford, but we will be back here tomorrow. And as always, go Celtics. And see you later, folks. The show's ending. It's not starting. See you later.